Hi all, so this is Sean from Time and Talk, and today I am going to make a video about this watch on the screen. So it's the Steeldive Turtle. It's called the Captain Willard, and it is based upon, as you may know, Seiko's 6105, otherwise known as the Captain Willard. It was released in 1968, and it's called the Captain Willard because it was worn by a character called Captain Willard, played by Martin Sheen in the film Apocalypse Now. Apparently, what happened is American servicemen were given American-made watches, and they decided to buy Seikos when they were over in Vietnam and other places. So, this watch is also being re-released by Seiko recently, actually, and it costs £1,000. So it's bold pricing on behalf of Seiko. So see if this is any better in terms of value and see whether it's as good as the original. So it's called the SD1970 by Steeldive, and in terms of the specs, it's got a 44mm case. Its lug to lug is 46mm. It's 13.5mm thick, and it weighs 140 grams. You actually get two different straps with this. There's a bracelet when you buy it from Steeldive. That is, there's a bracelet and there's a rubber strap. This is on a bun strap. It's aftermarket, and I've borrowed this from Time in the UK, who's another channel. I'll link to his channel. One thing that I will say about this watch is it does feel really good quality. I mean, the bezel, for example, I think it's one of the best bezels that I've ever felt on a watch under £1,000. I've found it really fantastic. I've had a number of Seiko divers, and that's the method that I use really to judge the quality of it, whether the bezel actually works properly and whether it's slack and things like that. This particular watch is known for its case shape. It's got a cushion case with the lug guards kind of pop out quite a lot. It looks almost like a speech mark. Got 200-meter water resistance. The movement in this watch is called the NH35. It's an automatic movement. See the dial close up. I'm not a huge fan of the Steeldive logo. I think it's a little bit God, how can I put it? It's just a little bit lacking in class, I think. I'm not a fan of the logo. But, I mean, the watch is really good quality. Applied indices. See a little bit of imperfection on the indices and on the hands and things like that. This is £104, by the way, the retail price. Last time I went on the website, it was out of stock. I think it's back now. But this is 10 times cheaper than the Seiko version of the Captain Willard, which is just being re-released. So obviously it does represent really good value. I think something that struck me about some Homage watches is, you know, an Homage watch is a watch that replicates the look and feel of another watch, perhaps a historical watch, and in the main those watches are more expensive. And I've noticed recently that you can get Homage watches that are not very expensive, and you see the case back as well with the Steeldive logo on it, which again I'm not a massive fan of. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and some specs about the watch. For example, it's 200-meter water resistance. It's got a hacking and hand winding movement. Yeah, in terms of homages to perhaps more affordable watches, I don't know. I just feel I don't really get it, to be honest. I think I don't know whether this is a given, but I would have assumed that the whole goal, if possible, if you're buying a watch, would be to get the original, and an homage would be if you don't want to pay the money for the original. Whereas if it's a watch that costs £200 and the homage costs £100, personally I would have just waited to buy the original. But you know, that's just me, I guess. But in terms of my thoughts on this watch, my personal opinion on homages is that I've always been someone who's interested in brands, and I know that might be seen by some to be shallow, but I think in terms of a brand, for me, is something. A brand has an identity. It allows you to buy into that kind of identity and that history, if you like. So homage watches don't really appeal to me as much as more affordable brands, so like Seiko and Citizen and Swatch or whatever you want. But every time I try one, I can't fail to be impressed by the quality that they bring to the table in terms of the value and the cost to how much you get in kind of ratio. So, you know, this watch has got a sapphire crystal. It's got an awesome bezel, as I've said. It's got a hacking, hand-winding automatic movement. It comes with 2 straps. Its build quality is really, really good. And it costs £104. And you definitely get a lot for your money. But in terms of whether I would choose this over a Seiko Turtle at about £300, I probably wouldn't, to be honest, because the Seiko, for me, is closer to the original. It's the brand that made the original watch, and you're buying into that Seiko identity, whereas some of the homage brands don't have any identity really, apart from in the last few years. But anyway, so here it is on my wrist. It's a little bit big for me. I've got a tiny wrist, and the lug to lug does make it wearable. So the lug to lug of 46mm does make it more wearable. I probably wouldn't wear it on this strap because it kind of dwarfs my wrist a little bit. But I'd completely wear this, and this watch is really, really impressive for the price, to be honest. Like I said, the main drawback for me in terms of this particular watch is that I don't like the Steeldive logo, but that's a really, really minor thing. You know, I can live with that. I would have got rid of the logo completely off the dial. Maybe design something a little bit more traditional, but you know, that's just me. So if you like my videos, my channel, please subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.